Hey, everybody, welcome to the Juicy podcast where we explore the future of co-working community and the spaces that bring people together. I'm Liz Elam, the founder of Juicy, and today we're talking with a true pioneer in the co-working movement. Our guest today is Angel. And Angel, I don't even think I know how to pronounce your last name because you're just Angel. What is your last name?
It's Kwiatkowski. It's Polish.
Oh, literally don't think I've ever heard that. Okay, Kwiatkowski, founder of Cohere, a neighborhood co-working space in Fort Collins, Colorado. Angel's been building community for over 15 years, proving that workspace can be human, deeply connected, and unscalable on purpose. She's also an author, a community builder, and she'll be moderating a panel at our upcoming Juicy conference in New York City. Angel, how the hell are you
I'm
today?
great. This is so exciting to be on the podcast. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Y'all, Angel has been coming to Juicy since the early days. In fact, did you come pregnant or you came with your baby?
Both, all. I've been at
All the
Juicy
above.
before it was called Juicy, and then after
Yep.
it was called Juicy, and then once pregnant and once with a baby, and now I'm back with no extra babies.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so everybody I'm asking this year about their morning routine because I really think my morning routine is one of the things that really is pivotal in how I approach life, honestly. I get up early, I drink coffee, I pray, I meditate, I read some stuff, and I'm curious what your morning
I don't
routine
do
is.
any of that because I have kids. I'm I'm making peanut butter jelly sandwiches, lunches, finding shoes, running up and down the stairs, getting whatever they forgot, or finding a charging cable. So I look
Fun.
forward to maybe one day having some kind of restorative morning routine, but I'm not in that phase of life
Yeah,
right now.
got it. That makes sense. So you founded Cohere over 15 years ago. What was your original vision and how has it evolved over time?
Yeah, it's so crazy to think back that far in the future. So in 2009, I was the first HR person at a startup in my town. And I got fired from there for reasons. But after I did it, the thing I missed most was I had spent a bunch of time going to each department and just meeting the people who worked in marketing and the people who worked in user design and the people who designed the texture of the thing that we were making and the warehouse and all the things. And that was my absolute favorite part about working there is I met all these cool technical people who were doing these cool things and I didn't know how to do any of it. And then after I was fired, my friend just casually said, "There's this thing starting called coworking. It's where people, like cool people who work in like technical jobs or freelance, work together instead of alone." And I was like, "I want to do that. I don't have any technical skills, but I want to hang around technical people."
Mhm.
So really, there I almost knew nothing. I think Alex Hillman and his business partner at the time had 4 YouTube videos published about what indie hall was and what coworking was, and I consumed them like air. And I was just like, "Okay, I gotta build the community and see if anybody's interested in this." And it took off like wildfire. Like, we ran out of space when we were just practice coworking in a donated lobby. And so then I went out and got us our real physical space after that.
Amazing, amazing. And then I want to congratulate you because recently when we caught up, I found out that you figured out you needed to buy the building and
Yes,
you did.
yes.
So first, congratulations. That's huge and a game changer. And I love it. I know Jenny Poon over at formerly of Cahoots did that as well. And it's just, if you can do that, that's so badass. That just changes it for you,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
so we had been renting at the same building for 13 years, and it was an okay building, we made it work, but it wasn't ideal. It was really broken up over 5 levels, and the corridors are really narrow, and you had to, like, shuffle past each other, and it was stupid, and I kind of hated it, but we made it work. Um, and they were gonna double my rent or something ridiculous, and
Mm,
there was no amount of math or spreadsheeting that could have made that make sense for us. And so it was great because I knew I either have to buy something or Cohere's going away. Like, I don't have any more versions
mm,
of this in me. And so,
mm-hmm.
I ended up emailing our economic development department, and I was just like, "I got 100 high-paid, mid-career remote workers. Somebody needs to help me find a building." And she was like,
Nice.
"Oh, my, brother and sister-in-law or they have an extra unit downtown." And I was like, "Shut up. I know them. I've known them for years. We grew up together in our businesses." And so I just called them up and they were like, "Yeah, do you wanna rent it?" And I was like, "No, I wanna buy it." And they were like, "All right, let us think about it." And they sold it to me, and I never would have known about it if I hadn't sent that email. There were people already in my
Yeah.
network who I hadn't thought to ask, and it's
Love
been so
that.
great for just peace of mind and, like, emotional stability.
Mhm, and a great investment for you and your family.
Yeah, I love some appreciation downtown Fort Collins.
Mhm, mhm. So good. So one thing that you talk about that's a little different than a lot of people in terms of community is you want it to be unscalable on purpose, which I love that you've come up with your own nomenclature. So why is staying small so important at Cohere?
Sure. So, over the years, I've grown Cohere to I think at our biggest, we were like 5,000 or 5,500 square feet. Um, and I'd always hit like 103 or 106 members, and then I'd lose 10. And then I'd build back up to like
Mm,
105, 108, and then I'd lose 10 or 15. And I just kept bumping into this like weird limit. And then I learned about Dunbar's number, which is a psychological principle that people can only hold 150 connections or acquaintances in their mind at any one time. And I was
mhm,
like, oh,
mhm,
because if you think about people's families, their existing friends they have when they join a co-working space, they don't have 150 slots available when they get to you. They have, however many they have.
mhm,
And so I just sort of took that to heart and I was like, all right, I'm going to stop fighting Dunbar's number and we're going to have a space where we're 100 is our max number of members that we'll do. And so when we moved into the building I bought, I downsized to 1,800 square feet. And so now we could really only have fewer than 100 members. And it has been so good. Um,
No, I
there's
love
some
it.
kind
Do you have a wait
I
list?
don't. We're always, like, on the verge of a wait list, but energetically, we never quite
Mhm.
get there because I would never say no to someone. I'd just be like, "You can sit on my lap, and we'll make it work."
Yep. As any good entrepreneur does. I love that. I love that. So, switching gears, the loneliness epidemic has just gotten worse and worse and worse. And you've written about how social connection is mandatory for survival. How does Cohere actively combat loneliness for its members?
Sure. So I think we've been iterating on this for 16 years. But I think we try to focus on people's hobbies as sort of the natural
Sure.
common denominator for people because everybody has hobbies. And in Colorado, it's particularly easy to have hobbies because we're kind of a lifestyle city. So people aren't
Mhm.
hustling very hard and we have a lot of work life balance. But we've just recently added this thing to our wall, which I wish I could show you. Maybe I'll send you a picture, but it's like a visual representation of all the members' hobbies, and it was conceived of by one of
Mm.
my members who's a social scientist doing network mapping, and
Ooh.
my former community manager who's a graphic illustrator. So she was able to sort of like think about all the members' hobbies and then do an icon for each hobby. And so now the members are writing what their hobbies are, and if they've done a hobby together, they connect it with a line. And then Hannah will I
I
know, I'm so
love that.
excited. It's like giving me life. And so then Hannah, the social scientist, will take everything after it's filled out and she'll use her software and we'll get this like visual map of how people are hanging out together and like who's not in the fold
Mhm.
yet so we can bring them in. Um so yeah, we spend a lot of time introducing people to each other and allowing people to just self-select into their hobby groups and organize them without Cohere. Like, we don't try to get in the middle of their
Mhm.
budding friendships. We just sort of lay the
Mhm.
groundwork and then step away.
It made me think of 2 things. One was at Link, which was my co-working space that I sold in 2019. We had, people were always coming to us and being like, "You know what you should do?" And I would often then be like, "You should do that." And they wanted us to organize lunches, and I just, like, had so many things going on that, I just put up on the board, like, "Today is take yourself to lunch day." And, like, anywhere from 6 to 12 people would get together, and they'd all just go to a restaurant, and everybody would just pay for themselves, and they
Mhm.
loved it. And I'm like, "This is so
Yeah.
great." I love self-organize. And then the other thing that's funny, I had a similar concept to your hobby board. I was talking to somebody who was opening up a space here in Austin, and I was like, what would be so cool is if on a wall you gave everybody, like, a little nail, and then every time they connected with somebody else, they used a string and basically turned it into community
Mhm.
string art that you would then just, like, maybe you were the pink string, and every time you connected with somebody, you just went and, looped yourself around that person. I would still like to see that done. Maybe somebody will listen and do that, but yeah, I was gonna make it into an art
Yeah, I'm
piece.
into it. I think anything we can do to, like, decenter staff from having to be the person who's doing the work of connecting, like, the hobby wall is
Mhm,
working so hard
mhm,
for me right now. And you just see
mhm.
all these names populating on there, and you see these little lines being drawn, and I'm like, "I didn't know you guys went to yoga together. I didn't know that, you went to
Yeah.
trivia together. This is all new information." So I feel like I'm learning a lot about a bunch of stuff they're doing
Mhm.
without me, which is my favorite.
It's so great. It's so great. I love that. I love that. Yeah, we did end up having one marriage, and I was very proud of that. We've also had a marriage at Juicy.
What? They met at Juicy?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Harsh met his wife at Juicy, and they have kids, so we have Juicy babies,
Gosh.
so I've effectively changed the world, so
Yeah,
yay. Okay, so back to work. So you are moderating a panel at Juicy soon. Without giving too much away, what themes or conversations are you most excited to explore with the
sure.
panelists?
So we're gonna dig in a lot to the techniques that we use as smaller indie spaces, versus, like, the
Mhm,
homogenized hospitality vibe.
mhm,
Maybe talk a little bit about, like, challenges of small space. I feel like we always have budget
mhm.
challenges, so we might dig in a little bit to, like, budget as a
Yeah.
creative constraint that actually makes us better because we have to be more creative with how we use our budget, which I think honestly, like, draws the members in more to what we're doing because we can't just pay someone to do everything. We sort of have to co-create if we wanna do something
Mhm.
interesting. So, talk about that, and I don't know, maybe a little bit on just, like, the future of indie co-working, like, will we survive? Will we make it?
Of course you will. Of course you will. Okay, also, you authored a book on DIY co-working and building community. What's the biggest mistake you see new operators making when they're trying to do genuine community?
I still see it all the time. They want and this goes for anybody who wants to start a business that needs a physical space, um, but they want it to be community focused. It's that they go hunting for real estate first. And it's
Yep.
just it's so painful to watch. And even when I
Mhm.
issue them the cautionary tale of like, "Are we sure that, everybody's into this idea and the things that you wanna provide
Mhm.
to them are the things that they actually want and will bring value to them and, like, make you sticky with them." But I don't know what it is about looking for real estate. It's like the siren song to people who want shared space. It's just like, "I've gotta get the lease. I gotta get this lease and be on the hook for 50 grand, and then I'll figure out who's gonna be in it and what we're gonna be doing and, how I'm gonna furnish it and all of those things." So I just think it's a lot of financial hardship and risk when you could probably accomplish 50% of the vibes that you want just by meeting up in some kind of temp space or donated space.
Hey guys, just breaking in to let you know that we have an amazing event coming up this spring. It's Juicy's 50th in New York City. You need to be in the room, and how you do that is you join us by buying a ticket. You can get your ticket at na.juicy.co, which stands for North America, by the way. And then if you would like to join us in the UK, we've got an event coming up in Manchester and one in London. You can get more details on that at uk.juicy.co. And last but not least, africa.juicy.co. We've got an event coming up in September in Cape Town that we're super excited about. We want to learn what's going on in Africa, and we want to pour everything we can into that continent. If you'd like to have a juicy ad or be a podcast guest or talk to us about sponsorship or anything else, just hit us up at info@gcuc.co. Talk to you soon. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm always saying you are not allowed to fall in love with real estate. Like, because what also happens is like they call me up and they're like, I found the perfect space. I'm like, no, you did not. And I had a guy call me up the other day. He's out of Canada and he's like, do I sign the lease first or do the business plan? I'm like, do the business plan
Yes.
first. um, yeah, and I know it's uncool, but I am a big fan of the business plan because I think it shows you what you don't know. And that's really important. Like, I remember getting super caught off guard when I had built my co-working space and I was ready to open and I was like, I'm going to put the sign on it's like a big retail center, so they had this huge sign up front. And so I went to the landlord and they were like, that'll be $20,000.
Gee.
And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, if you want your sign up there, it's $20,000. And I did not anticipate
Yeah.
that. So it's funny. Every now and then somebody will say, like, what's something that really caught you off guard? I'm like, the sign. The sign
Yeah.
caught me off guard.
Something that catches me off guard is how many people start co-working spaces in my city, and they take 2 paths. One is they don't even Google what other co-working spaces are in Fort Collins, which, like,
Or
blows or
named. Or
named.
named. Like,
I
yeah.
reached out to this one guy who had just opened a space out of nowhere. Like, he came out of nowhere. I was like, "Hey, you're 3 blocks from Cohere. Do you, like, wanna get coffee and talk about how we're neighbors?" And he's
Hmm.
like, "Oh, wow, I'm so glad you emailed me. I've never heard of you before." And I was just like, if you Google co-working Fort Collins, I'm like 8 of the top 12 results. And
Hmm.
you didn't
Hmm.
Google who else was co-working before you started?
Yeah.
And then the second path is spy. Send a spy to Cohere. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, let's just be honest with each other.
Hmm.
Like, you're acting weird. I know you're up to something. Like, if you're just honest with me, I'll help you.
Hmm.
Like, just tell me what
Yeah.
you're doing. You need
Yeah.
advice?
It's very bizarre, but yes, I always tell people like you should visit every co-working space in your town before you open. You should be very transparent about who you are and what you're doing. It's a great way to learn about your town and your community and who else is there. And, the good news is it's very rare that there's an area that can't handle more co-working because everybody's co-working, I think, is reflective of them as a human or as a person. And so people will self-select into the co-working that fits
Mhm.
them. So you shouldn't, back to you're not competitors, you're collaborators. Be a collaborator. It's just a better way of doing business.
Yeah.
Also, don't
And
be a
I
dick.
think also sometimes if you visited every co-working space, you might realize that you just wanna be a member and not.
Right, right, or that's already being
Yeah.
done, or you find a niche that absolutely you need to do. You never know.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely
Never know.
wild to start a business without having Googled or visited.
Yeah, but it happens all the time,
Yeah.
all the time. Okay, so the co-working industry has changed so much since you and I entered it. What is the trend you're loving right now, and what's one you wish would just go the heck away?
I am loving. It's funny that I'm gonna go to amenities because it's not really what I care about, but I'm loving,
Mhm.
plants, like plant forward
Yes.
spaces. I love that for us.
Mhm.
And a trend that I wish would disappear is alcohol on tap.
Girl, same. Like, let's give everybody a depressant. That's
Yeah,
a
and
great
let's just,
idea.
like, honestly, let's grow up. Like, it's
Mhm.
so easy to
Mhm.
find beer. Like, it's not
Mhm.
hard to find. Like, if you want one, you can they're
Yeah.
everywhere. I just don't think it's I don't think it's a I don't think it's a good common denominator amenity because so many people are sober now. Um, and some
Mhm.
people are in active recovery, and to have that thing, like, sitting in the
Mhm.
center of your kitchen is just, like,
Mhm.
a little tone
Mhm.
deaf. I think. So
Yeah.
I wish alcohol on
Yeah.
tap would go away.
Yeah, I love that so much as a sober person in recovery. I am 100% with you. But I'm mainly about it because it's a depressant. It is a depressant. Like, we have a loneliness epidemic. We have a problem with people dying by suicide. Serving up a depressant is not a great idea.
Yeah.
So, all right, off the soapbox. Okay, so now we're getting to the really fun part that I've been looking forward to. Is you guys know I am all hospitality, 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 and Angel's all like, "Meh, meh, meh." So, you have said that the hospitality mind space is wrecking co-working operators, and I think hospitality is what our industry does. So, Angel, the floor is yours. Make your case.
I can't wait to fight about this for the rest of our lives. So, the root of hospitality is like hospital, hospice, whatever. So, if you look at all those words, hospital, hospice, hostel, um, what what it means is the root of the word is a place for the weary and sick to come be taken care of. And I get that on the surface, it sounds like what co-working is. We take in like these weary remote workers and freelancers and we take care of them.
Mhm.
But I think the problem with that is it's the surest path to burnout for staff because you've now centered staff as the only people who can care for and answer questions and give things and the people who know the answer and know the resources and know where to point people. And the times where I've been the saddest at Cohere is when I've centered myself in that way to be like, if you need anything, ask me. If you have a question, email
Mhm.
me. If you need something, Slack me. If it's after hours, text me. And then suddenly I become like this bottleneck of information and people can only come to me.
Mhm.
And I found that like
Mhm.
when I decentered myself in the space, like, I still do a bunch of, like, the hospitality, like, I make coffee and I greet people as they come in and I give tours, but
Mhm.
I've kind of changed my messaging to be like, "If you need anything, ask the person sitting next to you first." Or if somebody is struggling, I might wait a beat and see if a member jumps in to help them before I run over to solve
Mhm.
their problem. And so I think it's just more about taking the pressure off of staff to be the end all be all answer for everyone and instead saying like, "Look around you. There's all these amazing capable people in this space and people
Mhm.
love to help. They love to help in small ways. They
Yeah.
love to, make the fresh pot of coffee or answer the door if it rings and I'm not around. Um, so I think I'm more about like decentering staff, which
Mm.
is a little at odds with hospitality.
So, good for you for looking at root to the word. I didn't do that. I love that you did. And I didn't even think about hostile. That's crazy. But when I think about hospitality, I think of it as trying to anticipate people's needs before they even know they need it. So it's, knowing that there's a loneliness epidemic and people don't need to be served a depressant, and that instead of serving alcohol you serve mocktails at an event. To me, that's hospitality. So it's also, to me, hospitality is exactly what you're doing. It's greeting people, it's making people feel welcome. I don't think hospitality means you have to have somebody that's the center of everything with no boundaries. And I am 100% with you on letting members solve member things a lot. Like, we talked before about, when somebody would come up to me and tell me that they didn't like something, I would wait to see if somebody else said something. Just because one person says, I want X, doesn't mean I need to go implement X. It means it's a data point I should consider and see if it's impacting other people. Also, when people had a disagreement, and they would come to me and be like, I don't like blah, like I had a guy who wouldn't wear shoes. And people really had a problem with it. And I did not. I was like, whatever. Like, I'm not going to tell this man how to dress. If he doesn't want to wear shoes, it doesn't impact my world in a negative way. And people would come up to me and be like, I really don't want, like, it looks unprofessional. I don't like it. And I said, well, why don't you talk to that guy? And they never would. And then they just went away. And you know what? He never wore shoes and it was fine. and I don't think it was really a problem. So my point in that is I don't think hospitality means you do things to the detriment of your staff. I think it means you're thoughtful about anticipating other people's needs. And I think the other thing is I didn't want us in the real estate vertical because you and I both talked like real estate is one of the most important parts in your equation. If you get it wrong, you're probably going to fail, but it's not what you do day in and day out. What you do day in and day out is care for humans. That's why I like hospitality. Does that make
It
sense?
does. I think it's probably just a matter of, like, you've got hospitality, you've got, like, many to many, like, unconference style, like, one to many versus
Mhm.
many to many, and it's, like, a different mix. Like, mine's more many to many and yours is more one to many, and it's fine. It's all
Mhm.
fine. We both had successful spaces. Um,
Well, and the thing is too is like I'm a big fan of we need all the voices, you know? Let's have all the voices in the
I
conversation.
think also coworking suffers from this weird problem because it is a newer industry in the history of the world. Like, we're always trying to figure out who we're like. Like, are we like hospitality?
Mhm.
Because you see, like,
Don't
you
need to
see these
be.
big brands being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we got the head of hospitality from this luxury hotel brand, and they're gonna, help coworking have that vibe." Or you get like,
Mhm.
"Oh, we're, like, are we a third space? Like, are we like a cafe? Do we act
Mhm.
like that? Or are we like self-service? Do we act like a self-service 24-hour gym?" And it's just like we need to find our own like language
I
and our
agree.
own like flag to
Yeah.
plant and just be like, we're not a hotel. We're not a gym. We're not real estate.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are we? And so I've been kind of working on that and I might talk a little bit about it at the panel.
I love that. Yeah, I think we are co-working. I think the problem is I didn't wanna go through the minutia of trying to get LinkedIn to add co-working, and I know that Sam from Flock is trying that, and I'm like, "God bless you, good
Yeah.
luck." Like, the closest thing I could get was hospitality. Okay, so we will agree to disagree, but I think we both made valid points. So, you've mentioned that your favorite metric is not square footage, but friendship. So I'm curious, how do you measure success of a space when the focus is on human connection rather than growth?
Yeah. So again, this is what the hobby wall is doing for us. So it's helping us see not only what the members are interested in individually, but what they've done together. And so every time we get that connecting line, that's a new data point for us. So I'm hoping that by the time Hannah puts all the data into the software, we'll be able to say, um, 60% of members have done an activity outside of Cohere with another member.
Love that.
Because that's actually a
Mhm.
part of my marketing that's lacking. Like, we promise friendship. It's like our core thing that we promise, but we don't actually have any statistics around it. We have like some anecdotal evidence like, "Oh, you 2 met and that's cute and you're going camping." Um, but I would love to have some stats on the website to just be like, within your first 3 months, you can expect to have 5 new acquaintances to do something with. Um, so yeah, the hobby wall is new. It's changing my life. I'm really excited.
I love
Maybe
it.
I'll be able to
Please send a
yeah,
photo
I
of it.
might be able to present on it at the next not this juicy, but a future one. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, so bizarrely, we're out of time, but I'm going to ask you my last favorite question because I like it, which is what should I have asked you, but I didn't? And then you have to answer it.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. Was that on my list of questions? Um,
It was.
I don't know. I just
I'll tell you what I think I
okay.
should ask, and you can choose it or not, is you were really vocal, really around in the early years, and then you were sort of gone for a little while, now you're
Yeah.
back. So, what brought you back?
What did bring me back? Okay. So why do I want to hang out with everybody? I had my second baby and she didn't sleep. And like I told you, I had a nervous breakdown because it was like torture conditions. I was
Mhm.
being woken up every 90 minutes for 11 months. And that takes a toll on the human.
That's
mind and body.
Of
So,
course, you had a
yeah, we finally got
breakdown.
Eleanor sleeping through the night, which was transformational. Um, but then I just honestly, I got really disillusioned with where coworking was going. I found myself no longer identifying with the events that were happening. I couldn't
Mhm,
identify with the content that people were producing, and I felt a little bit like I don't wanna listen to any of that. I don't wanna be influenced by big coworking and flex office solutions for enterprise clients. I don't want
mhm,
any of that to, like, taint my vision and what I want Cohere and coworking to be, so I sort of just turned the faucet off, and I was like, "I'm gonna do my thing in my way," and I think it was great. I think it was like a mental reset that I needed to turn off all that noise because there's
mhm,
so much comparison that happens when you look online. You'd be like, "Oh,
mhm.
they can afford, like, the cool furniture I
Yep.
saw at the trade show," or they have everybody has a branded fob, or like, "Oh, they have branded desks," or they have $20 million worth of
Mhm,
plants in their space. Like, I could never have that. And so I sort of just needed to shut off the noise. And then I think what brought me back into the fold was I called Kat Johnson, and I was just like, "Hey, friend, I
mm,
miss you. I miss my
mhm,
old crew," but a lot of them don't have co-working spaces anymore, so I kind of felt myself like, I want
mhm,
community for myself to talk about co-working, but a lot of those people don't co-work anymore, and so I used
mhm,
Kat as kind of a touch point to just be like, "Will you talk about co-working with me?" And so we had some phone calls, and I ended up joining her lab. And then once I got into the lab, I was like, "Oh my god, I love this. I love teaching. I love helping people who are new kind of look at things in a different
mhm,
way." And um, yeah, so it's sort of like Kat was I cracked the door open and let Kat back in, and then I was like, "Oh,
mhm.
I want everything. I'll do everything."
Oh, I'm so glad you're back. We missed your voice, and I think, the thing is like if we don't change it, who will? Right? We have to change it. We have to decide to keep, the core intact or if we go away, it just goes
Mhm,
away. And so I think it's really important. And thank you for sharing your struggles with your daughter. I'm sure somebody's going to hear that and relate. And I'm glad that you were able to take some time and come back because not everybody gets
mhm.
to come back. And so I really appreciate you sharing your vulnerability because that's important in today's day and age.
Yeah, I feel like people don't talk enough, honestly, about the realities of, like, motherhood and entrepreneurship and babies who don't sleep for
Hmm.
11 months, and it's rough. It's rough. So,
Yeah, it's hard. That's why I didn't do it. I'm like, that looks like a lot of work.
yeah, but what you do have is a great morning routine.
I do, I do. I am not making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or running up and
No.
down the stairs. I got this. So anyway, Angel, it was so fun to banter with you. I love that you and I can always agree to disagree or have a conversation. So glad you're back. I'm so excited you're going to be on stage at Juicy and thank you so much for your
Yeah, thank
time.
you. I loved being here.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone, to listening to the Juicy Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like and follow and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a conversation about the future of co working and community. If you want to be part of the global co working movement in person, join us in New York City this April. Angel will be there moderating a fantastic panel, and it's an incredible gathering of operators, developers, designers, and innovators shaping the future of work and the flexible workspace. So grab your ticket now at na.juicy.co and we will see you next time.